Okay, we are in the smaller garage attic. I didn't spend as much time in the larger garage attic because there was some oil on the floor and my ladder did not feel secure. I don't know what that is. It's kind of interesting. Flashing. That's the northwest corner. I'm not even sure what that is. This attic has a light in it. The one over the garage does not. And what little framing is visible here, it all looks pretty good actually. In the other garage you have some electric cable that's closer than 16 inches to the door. Now this attic has a luminary in it, a light. The other one didn't seem to. This is your wall bracing, and it's insulated panels. And if you read the instructions, like these staples here, okay, they're going parallel with the framing structure. Alright, that's the way they're supposed to work. But then you get some over here, and that's less so. And over here, we've gone from vertical to horizontal, and they're perpendicular to the framing. You probably never have an issue with it, but you know, it is wall bracing. This structural panel right here, that's it was rated for wall bracing. So now, this was true for both garages, but the scuttle hole covers are too thin. They don't provide the same fire blocking. This attic probably isn't as important, although it should be, because this attic doesn't really share any living space. But the other attic over the larger garage is open to the living room. I believe it's the living room fireplace. Let's put that there for now. Again, there was some oil on the floor and the other one. Hang on. And the floor is painted in the other garage. You'll see. This door does not have to have a self-closing spring on it because it does not go to the living space. And then this power gate is beyond the scope of this inspection. But I do like to make a note that it does have a safety warning notice on it, so you kind of have an idea of what I'm about to talk about. These are the garage doors. They're on battery door openers. They're on battery backups. So if this door is operating very slow, you've lost power, and you've tripped a GFCI or lost power, and so that's an indication if the door's open and slower. These control buttons in both garages should not be closer to the floor than 5 feet. So, and then you should have a notice, kind of like what's on the gate. You should have a safety notice right here, or here, but next to it. Okay. You should also have a safety notice on the door. All this applies to both of the doors. Okay. And then on each corner of the door, there should be a spring tension notice on the bottom corners. It says spring tension notices. You can have more, but you should have them there too. And then you're supposed to have a pull handle inside the door. The other door has some red ridges that extend a little farther than this one. You should have a pull handle there, and then one right there, which would be very ugly. But you're supposed to. It's not my house. Optic sensors are closer to the ground than 6 inches. That's a good thing. That's supposed to be there. And then the manual door locks have been decommissioned. so that you do not accidentally close the door, do not accidentally lock the door after it's been closed, and then bend the door or damage it opening it while it's been locked, because you have a door opener that serves as that purpose. If you take the door opener out, then you'll recommission those locks, but until then, this is the way it's supposed to be. And we're coming down nice and fast because we've got power. Alright, the garage, only on the small, but on the small garage, the vertical casement, okay, it's too close to the ground. Alright, and then you have these form boards or in your control joints right there, so that's really conducive to wood destroying insects. I mean, I wouldn't wish termites on anybody, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn that, after about 7 years, because they really don't show up till about 7 years, by the way. They could show up sooner. There's no hard, fast rule. But after a few years, but right now, it's a termite wood destroying insect inspection would just be an exercise. You wouldn't gain anything from it, in my professional opinion. But in a few years, okay, well, that's gonna be a trouble spot. So you might want to keep your eyes peeled on that. All right. Coming along here, this is a smaller garage. This is the south interior wall. This is the lawn sprinkler control box. Okay, the stations are labeled, and we have control and we have instructions. And we'll get into that a little farther. That's the sensor, the radio receiver. And then you come over here. The south wall, south fence. Over here. Okay, that little guy right there. Got a hill. Alright. Come on, that little guy right there. That's your weather sensor. Your rain and freeze sensor, so that the system doesn't operate in the rain or in a freeze. And coming along. It's dark shingles, composition shingles. It's pretty steep. I'm going to see if I can get up on that. And right here, that vent, up there in that corner. That guy right there, he's a fresh induction air vent. And in this part of the country, they're required to have screens on them by a lot of municipalities like Prosper. And the reason why they're supposed to have screens on them is to keep birds and stuff out of them. If we were up north, that fresh air induction vent could freeze over from a big snow storm, ice storm, and then it would starve the air going and your furnace would shut down. But we're not up north. Okay? Coming in here, this is the larger garage. The electric service panels, okay, load centers, breaker boxes, call them what you will, but these are them. And they are located inside the larger garage south interior wall. Now, if you've got friends or family or somebody that's used to working on electrical systems, it may occur to them that you do not have any 15 amp circuit breakers. All your circuit breakers and for the interior use of the house are all 20 amps. Well, most municipalities even though the code doesn't require it, most municipalities require 20 amp on all of their interior circuits as they're kind of moving. And by the way, you can't have, I guess you can, never mind, I was thinking too fast. But what you shouldn't have, okay, you shouldn't have paint inside the cabinets, okay? And this is L1, line 1, this is line 2. Then on line 2, you got all this dust and debris in here, okay? All this dirt and combustible material, that should not be inside of a load center. And the gaps between the load center and the wall should not be larger than 1/4 inch, okay? And saved by the bell. And then this panel is held in place with screws, all right? Screws get nice and tight. use them on metal things, but okay, these panels should have been nailed in. And the reason why they should have been nailed in is screws do not have the same tensile strength that nails do. Okay, shear strength. Okay, so tornado. We just had one the other day. Tornado or earthquake. It's not unheard of in this part of the country any longer. These screws would be more apt to pop, break, and fail than a nail. Okay, so then your electric wires inside of the panel, they should not be in contact with the panel covers. Pretty much universal over here. And then when these power lines coming into the house, okay, L1 and L2 on load center 1 and L1 and L2 on load center number 2, they should have little protective rubber boots on them. And then you might notice that some of the labeling on these panels is upside down, and that's incidental. I mean, it's not going to just like all of them being 20 amps. That's not a concern, but there it is. Then you have your UFR, and by the way, your grounding is labeled on the outsides of these. Okay, so we got the gas grounds. So we've got the gas grounds, and then the main ground here. This is an energy statement. We got energy statements on the outsides of these panels. All right, it's an average. It's an average. But what I wanted to call your attention to, by the way, so it's an overall passing score is what I'm saying. But on your cooling system, they're saying that you got a SEER 16. And I've seen the condensing units out, we'll look at those in a little bit. They're all SEER 14. So they've overstated the SEER on the air conditioning systems. But by the way, 14 is acceptable. 16 is better. I think everybody would agree with that. But 14 is acceptable. These panels, okay, this should not be panel boards, load centers. Okay, they should not be hand labeled. All right, they should not be hand labeled, and you should have duplicity. So it's labeled over here. It should be labeled over here as well. All right, and it's the same on both of them. This is your UFR. This is the main ground of the house. Okay, and it's on. There's your UFR rod going down into the foundation. That's your main ground. It's beneath that plate right there. All the same. 2 electric chargers for vehicles. And then for the garages and the exteriors, over there, GFCIs, that's where you reset them. If you don't have power in your backyard or in the garages, you would move that little Wi-Fi booster and then reset the GFCI.